It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day. And it is September, it is fall, but it still could potentially be hot well into October here in San Diego. But I can't stand it anymore, guys. I have to work on this topsy-turvy. It is just starting to wake up a little bit, and I just, I don't want to leave it looking so scrubby and scraggly. So I'm going to go ahead and plant. I'm going to fill it in, but I'm not going to work with cuttings because I still feel like we could get some heat and I don't want things to desiccate. This is a really, really good example too for you guys of microclimates. Look at how each of these pots is facing a different direction. So if you've got a topsy-turvy, and I know a lot of you do because you sent me pictures of your work after I posted mine. Thank you for that, by the way. This is a good way for you to learn about your plants. What's thriving and why. Some of these get more shade, some of these get more sun. So I'm going to be mindful of that when I choose my new little plants to insert. There are some things to consider. I see this one the most, and this one the most, and this one the most. So the coolest plants, the ones that have the most color and pop and that make me the happiest, I'm going to put in these pots because I'm going to be seeing them. When I'm back here on my hands and knees doing maintenance is when I look at these two and go, oh no. So I want to put things that are tough in these back pots that will survive some neglect and that, I can enjoy when I'm back here doing maintenance. So also, we can talk about some of these plants. I picked some cuties. Here's one that I love. This is peperomia. This is a plant that doesn't get very big, does it? I mean, honestly, I have never seen it much bigger than this, but it's really, really fascinating little plant. I encourage you, when you go to the nursery and you're looking for plants, don't just buy them without reading the labels. The labels really do have some helpful and sometimes interesting information on them. This one says it is a native to Peru and Ecuador. Forms small plants with red stems with succulent leaves with a window to enable photosynthesis. My mind is blown. What?
Yeah.
Wait. Forms small plants with red stems. Okay, so we see the red stem. With succulent leaves. Here's the leaves. With a window. With a window. I think what they're referring, well, I'm not sure, but I think they might be referring to how the leaf curls and how there's green in the middle. And somehow that configuration enables photosynthesis. So, next time you're at a cocktail party, if we ever have those again, that's something that you can talk about and people will think you are so smart. Yeah, and crazy, right? Okay, all right, so now, because I don't want to work with the plants as cuttings, I'm just going to massage the dirt off of the plants because I need, there's not a lot of space.
Now, what happens if it falls apart, Mom?
Yeah, Hannah says, what happens if the plant falls apart? It very well might, because the way they do these in the nurseries is these plants are all started as plugs. They're little individuals like this. There's 4 or 5 of them, and they shove them in a pot, and once they root out, they will put them up for sale. So, if they fall apart, so what? You know how to make a ponytail. Just put them back together, just like that. Now, instead of having this huge root ball to try and squeeze in, I've just got this little compact amount of plant material. I didn't disturb any of the roots. So I'm going to take this little peperomia and I'm going to stick it right here where I can see it and I can enjoy it, knowing that it's probably not going to get much bigger than that. In this Crassula mucosa, I really like the look of this plant. I just think texturally it's a very, very interesting plant. This one will grow to be, a decent size. It's kind of a filler, so I'm going to stick it in this blue pot. And I really like the patina on these too. I like that the paint is starting to chip. It's funky and quirky and I don't hate it. And before I go on, I just have to do this because I'm so OCD. I got to cut the little dead flowers off my Crassula. Oh gosh, that has been bugging me. Okay, cool, thanks. Done. I wanted to show you the difference as well between Gaster Aloe, which is a hybrid of aloe and gasteria, and aloe. See how much thicker the Gaster Aloe leaves are and how much tougher looking this plant is? You know, when you're reading your labels, pay attention to what its light requirements are. These say bright light or bright indirect light or indirect light. That's code for you can grow it in the house. So keep that in mind too if you have limitations to gardening outside year round. So because this one's kind of big and kind of tough, look at that root ball, good grief. I'm gonna, look at that, there's barely any soil even in it, and it's just thriving. It's just literally as tough as nails. I think what I'm gonna do is do something I said I wasn't gonna do, only because I have experience with this plant and I know how tough it is, and it's not gonna fit where I wanna put it in my pot if I leave all of these roots. So I am gonna cut off the bottom part. It's still not a cutting, it still has a good 50% of its root ball, and I'm gonna pop it right in here in the back of the arrangement because I know that it's heavy and big, and if I plant it in the front, it's going to cover up all of this. That looks amazing. I love that. And then the little aloe, this one's clearly not as root bound as its cousin. So we'll just get rid of a lot of that soil. And let's pop this one right in here in the purple pot. Again, kind of in the back. I like that. I like the way that plays off of the green. And I like the way we have its aloe cousin here. And I like the balance between the gasteria here and the aloe here. So that's making me really happy. This one excites me. This is Crassula Calico Kitten. And I know that you know that I work with this one in my succulent fountain, and it has done so well because it is planted kind of on the shady side. Don't try to grow this plant in full sun. But it is kind of a slow grower, but it's a spiller. So I'm going to put it here in the green pot with the hopes that it will spill over the side of the pot. That will look amazing. Okay, this one's fun. This is a little Echeveria Cubic Frost. This is another really, really popular hybrid that was put out by Altman Plants a few years ago. It's so cool and so pretty, and it does have the potential to get about 3 times this size. Now, all of these plants that I'm working with are frost tender. You have to bring them in if you live somewhere where it gets really, really cold. Okay, let's see. I really love the color of this, so I think I'm going to put it right next to that peperomia. Yeah, look at that. Thanks, Han. Look at that color. Oh, that is so, so, so cool. All right. Another fun one is the Crassula Baby's Necklace. This is probably my favorite of the stacking Crassula, the baby necklace. Again, this isn't going to get big anytime fast or soon. It's very, very persnickety. And I have found that this plant really does well grown amongst other things rather than as a specimen. It'll kind of come up in between things. I'm just going to tuck it right in here amongst these other Crassulas. That looks so cool, doesn't it? Oh, I love that. That's so neat. I still have a little gapper right here next to my Opalinas. So I'm going to put the Andromyscus in that spot because I want something, I don't want a rosette. I want something that is complementary, but not, that doesn't repeat in shape and color. So this will kind of break that up visually. Very, very nice. Oh yeah, I'm getting into it now. And here's another one of those aloes. This is called Blizzard. This is another one that can be grown successfully indoors. There's literally dozens of little aloes that you can grow indoors. I would encourage you to go to Mountain Crest's website or go to Altman Plants and see what they have available, and start a collection of aloes. There, that looks super cute back there. Now I have this Echeveria Lola. This is one of my favorite Echeverias. This can get 3 times this size. I'm not sure where I'm going to cram her. I think I'm going to put her in the green pot with the understanding that later in the season, when she gets bigger, I may move her to a more prominent spot in the garden. But right now, she just looks like a cute little surprise right there. I am really feeling that. And then the last one is the Echeveria Neon Breakers. This is another favorite because it's almost fluorescent looking. And it will also get to be 3 or 4 times this size. Let's see if I can find a home for it. Yes, I can. Over on the other side of the green pot with the same idea. These are kind of like gutters for me, the Topsy Turvy. You know, it's a plant nursery. They look really good and cute. But when they start to outgrow these pots, I can take them out and move them to other areas of the garden or even plant them in the ground. So I'm feeling really good about this. I think that this is going to make me happy, and these plants are going to survive and be just fine through the heat. Another thing that I did notice as I was planting is that this topsy-turvy is very, very dry. Now is the time to water because the soil is bone dry. It's still a little leggy and not as full, but like I said, I don't want to work with cuttings right now, so I'm just going to let that ride. And, you know, when you water at this time of the year, you want to moisten the soil, but, you know, you don't necessarily want to drench it. So you can see that all I'm doing is giving these plants a little bit of a shower. I'm not standing here for hours. Just a shower. Oh, gosh, it's so rewarding. Okay. And that does it. That's how I water. That'll do it for this pot for the next week or so, depending on the weather. If you have any doubts about when to water, just check and see with your finger if the soil is dry. If it's dry, give it a little like I just did. If it's not dry or there's a little moisture or dampness, wait. Be patient. This has been Laura Eubanks with your Topsy-Turvy remake and your succulent tip of the day. Bye, guys.